I'm going into Menu, and under Preferences, down at the bottom, we've got two things, Power Management and Screensaver, that I want to look at. If I open up the Power Management, we see two tabs and the Power Management Preferences. If I go down to Menu and open up the Screensaver, we have a button here called Power Management that opens up the same Power Management Preferences. I'm going to close this for the moment, and we'll take a look at the Screensaver Preferences. The original purpose of a screensaver was to prevent an image from burning into the screen, which was a common problem a few years ago. People would leave their computers on with the same text or image showing on the screen every night, and eventually that image or text would get burnt onto the screen, making that screen difficult to use or unusable. To prevent this from happening, people created screensavers, which would display constantly moving graphics or text or changing photos to prevent anything from being in one place for too long. Images and text won't burn into today's LCD screens, but we still like screensavers, and it gives us a quick and easy way to lock our screen. Looking at the Linux Mint Mate default screensaver themes, we've got Blank Screen, which is black, Random, which will pick one of these at random, Floating Gnome, Floating Mate, our picture folder, and Pop Art Squares. I will mention in this picture folder, it will show all the pictures in the picture folder. Not just the ones inside the folder, but inside all of the folders. Coming down to Preview, we can see our screensaver at full screen. We see we're in the Screensaver Preview in the upper left-hand corner. This is telling us which one we're looking at, which is the picture folder. If I click the arrow, these are the Pop Art Squares. Back to the picture folder, Floating Mate, Floating Gnome, and over here we've got Leave Full Screen. Down at the bottom, regard the computer idle after, and it's set at 5 minutes. We can set this anywhere from 1 minute to 2 hours. I'm going back to 5 minutes, and down below it says Activate Screensaver when computer is idle. So if we don't want the screensaver to go on at all, we can uncheck this box. The next checkbox is Lock the screen when the screensaver is active. That means we need to type in our password to get back to the desktop. Depending on where you're using this or who is around, you may want to lock your screen, or you might not need to. The last thing I'm going to say about screensavers are, if we go into Software Manager, when I type in screensavers with the S, we see 3 screensavers here. The RSS GLX. This is the one I would recommend you install if you want to add more. I would advise against adding in the K screensavers at this time, just because it also will add in the KDE desktop, and you may not want that. We will talk about desktops in a future tutorial, so you should at least hold off until after we talk about desktops before you add in the K screensaver. Adding that in doesn't show anything. We need to close this and open it back up. And now we've got lots and lots to choose from. Maybe Plasma, Skyrocket. I'll leave it at Skyrocket. Let's look at the Power Management. We've got 2 tabs here because this is a desktop. We only have AC power. That's this first tab on the left. Our actions are, we can put the computer to sleep when inactive for, and we have never as the default. We can change this to 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 10 minutes. What sleep mode will do will keep everything in memory, but just reduce the amount of power used. And then when we press a key, everything will come right back the way it was. Sleep mode is like a power saver mode. Then we've got spin down hard disks when possible. If you've got a flash memory hard drive, you don't have to worry about this. But if you have a spinning hard drive, which many of us do, you may want to have the disk stop spinning when possible. The advantage of this is to save some energy, but more importantly, it will help make your hard drive last longer, because it's very common for the hard drive motor to fail, and the less it spins, the longer it will last. If we're watching a movie over the internet, we really don't need that hard drive spinning all that time, so we may want to spin down the hard drive when possible. The disadvantage of that is when the drive is not spinning and you start typing or try and open up a program, you've got to wait 2 or 3 seconds for the disk to get up to speed. When I say 2 or 3 seconds, it may seem kind of fast, but if you're there typing or you click on something and you have to wait 2 or 3 seconds, it does seem like a long time. The next one, display. Put the display to sleep when inactive for 30 minutes. Depending on how long you leave your computer on or what you're using your computer for, you may or may not want to change this field. But I will mention that putting your screen to sleep can save energy. I just plugged in a USB disk with some pictures on it. We're going to look at the tab 2. And this one I took off a laptop computer. This gives us options if it's on battery power. We have the same first option, put the computer to sleep. We talked about that. The next one says when the battery power is critically low, we've got a drop down for hibernate. We could also shut down, suspend, or do nothing. Let's start with shut down. When there's not enough battery power to go on, the computer will shut down and everything in memory will be lost. The computer will shut down normally, and when you plug it in or put in a charged battery, you can power up and start fresh. Do nothing. This will just keep it running until the battery just dies. Everything in memory will be lost, and it's really not the best way to shut down your computer. I would stay away from this choice. Suspend. We already talked about this one, but we called it sleep mode. What this will do will hold everything in memory and go into a low voltage mode. Now this is good if you intend to plug it in soon, but if you wait too long, eventually the battery will die. When this happens, you'll lose everything that's in memory and it is not going to do a proper shutdown. So when you're using your battery, suspend, also known as sleep mode, is good for short periods of time. The last option is hibernate. This will move everything in memory to a temporary file on the hard disk and then shut down the computer. Next time you start your computer and log in, it will fill your memory with what you had just before it went into hibernate mode. So the big difference here between hibernate and sleep or suspend mode, sleep suspend mode still needs the battery to hold things in memory, whereas hibernate totally shuts down the computer, and the next time you turn on your computer, you'll log in where everything will be loaded back into memory. Let's go to the General tab. Over on the General tab, we have when the power button is pressed, the default is to ask me what to do. We can also go into Suspend, which we talked about, the sleep mode, Hibernate, which will store everything in memory and go down, or it will just shut down. I prefer Ask Me, especially on my laptop, because I'm more likely to bump it by accident, and I don't want the computer to quickly shut down. This gives me a second chance to cancel out. When the Suspend button is pressed. When the Suspend button is pressed, you will need to either have a Suspend button on your keyboard, or you can configure one of your keys to be a Suspend button. And then you can set this Suspend button to be Suspend, Hibernate, or Do Nothing. Down in the notification area, we can display an icon. Only display an icon when the battery is present, which is the default, or always display an icon. And here we see that it's fully charged, but there's really no battery. And never display an icon never shows it. I will only display when a battery is present. Going back into tab 2, I did skip over this reduce backlight brightness. If this is checked, when you go into battery power, your background kind of dims just a little to help save battery power. And you'll notice a difference if you have it plugged in and unplug it, your screen will dim a little bit, then you plug it back in and it goes back to full brightness. And that is everything under power management and screensavers. If you like these videos, please tell a friend.